Okay, so let's talk about values. So today, the focus is going to be values, and values are important because when I have a goal and the goal is interfering with my value, I'm off the bat having a challenge to accomplish my goal because there's constantly going to be friction between my value and the things that I want to accomplish. So for example, let's say one of the things that I value is freedom. Freedom is really important to me, but my goals are not that. My goals are putting me in a confined box. My goals are putting me in a place of where I don't have the freedom. I'm going to struggle all the time to move forward with my goal because it's really pushing and conflicting with my values. And I'll tell you this little story. Years ago, I was coaching a lady and she had 15 Burger Kings. Burger Kings she inherited from her family, and her value was health foods. She was a vegetarian. She didn't eat any gluten. So what do you guys think? Was it easy for her to grow her business? It wasn't. It wasn't at all, because there was a conflict and she didn't realize what that was. And after we coached for a while, it was clear to her, and she was able to shift it and make it create a win-win situation. So I want you to take a moment and think about what is important to you. What actually is a value? What does that mean to you? And you can write it in the chat, or you can take a piece of paper and can write it down. What is valuable to you? What's important? And as you're writing, I'm going to talk a little bit. Values are the things that are not negotiable. And if we put up with them for a while, let's say we value something in a partner, or we value something in life, and we're constantly going against it, kind of we're telling ourselves, yeah, I can be with it, it's okay, but inside I'm kind of have to do all kinds of things to be okay with it. It's going to pop up over and over and over again. So it's one of the ways that you can look and see what is of value to me, what's important, what matters. And in the exercise, I'm going to ask you to come up with 5 values. And I'm looking at those values as this is the bedrock of your existence. Some people have values for life. Some people have values for their job. Some people have values altogether. And I'm going to suggest that you create values, in general, so that you think about it as what are the 3 to 5 things that are super important to me. So let's just hear from a few of you. What are your ideas, or what do you know about your values? Things that are important to you that are not negotiable, or things that you can't be with, or things that they're a must. What are some of the thoughts that you have? You can just unmute yourself and just talk, and I'll be listening to you.
Can we say that variety and lack of routine is a value?
You can. So my suggestion would be, what's behind that? What is it that's underneath? Because that's kind of sometimes we want to differentiate between the things that we experience. Okay, like what is on the surface, that if I value freedom, what would be some of the things I would do? Okay, so if I would stop at the things I would do, like let's say I would like to jump from a cliff, or I like to fly, that was maybe one way for people to experience freedom. Or I like to not make any commitments. Right? So then I want to go look deeper. What's underneath that? And so until I get to the, freedom is my thing. Right? So if you like variety, you maybe you like exploring. Or maybe you like to have new experiences because you like to feel different things. So I'm not saying that couldn't be the value. I'm just always in favor of challenging myself to look deep. And then you look at your life and you say, oh, I see, it's repetitive. Right? And it's what is it bringing to me?
Okay.
Who else? Who has something that they want to share? If they can talk.
I actually have a question.
Yes.
About the values is something that you have like for life, like for a long time, because I did an exercise. I remember once that I found my values, but I don't know if that shifted or not.
Yeah, well, so I think you have them for a long time, and of course they can shift. So we want to look to see, oftentimes when we're little kids, there are things that we value, or when we're teenagers, and then later they show up again. So yes, they can change, but they might be that they're consistent, and that you can see this, this red thread in your life where you could say, I've always liked freedom. Freedom is my thing. As you, if you know me, I lived in Germany, then I lived in Israel, then I lived in the United States, now I'm back in Israel. And you can see it's variety, but for me, it's a way of being free, that I can find myself in different places, because for me, freedom is my heart will lead me to a certain place, and then I will follow my heart, right? And so there's sometimes different ways that you can express that. But it's always been me that I like to roam around and bring different people together. So if you even look at this group, you can see there's people from Emily and I in a language class together, and other people and I in a networking group together, and some people I know from seminars or from my spiritual group. So it's like my ability or my freedom to look at different things then creates a certain dynamic in my life. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just a way to really take a moment to look and see what is really important, and where do I have conflicts in my life. And sometimes.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just said I wrote down a few.
Okay, awesome.
I wrote down a bunch. So I wrote health and well-being, like healing and personal growth.
Okay.
Room and space to move around. Kindness and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Time for space. Again, the space is an issue. Self-care and freedom and time for this. And beauty, cleanliness, and organization. Playing and seriousness, and a balance between both.
Awesome. Wow. And how do you feel about it as you read?
It's great to write it. It's just, it reminds me of when I was, when I used to journal when I was like 20, and that was a long time ago. And I would write about the same kind of stuff. Like, healing was really important. I lived in a yoga ashram when I was 21 for a little while. I'm still me, and I'm 51 now. And they're still my core values. And it's just really good to just have them here, because I'm in the midst of like thinking about some really big decisions about moving, maybe house buying, and I need something to guide me. I'm needing a compass, and that's why I'm here.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So you're for you, one of the challenge will be to get it really crisp. Okay, so to really take the time to narrow it down. I say no more than 5. And then the challenge will be to explain them like you started to explain, so that I will be able to explain my 5 values, and I know them by heart, and I don't need to look them up. This is kind of how you know that you really arrive. And when you look at the workbook, there are a couple of things to do. One is, and we'll do this in a minute, to think about somebody that you admire, and to kind of, sometimes we don't know, sometimes we have to make it up, but to kind of guess like what are their values, or maybe to interview a few people. As I was preparing for this tonight, I was thinking about, I really do admire my mother, and even though we have some difficulties, I admire her, and I can actually interview her, and I will, and I will ask her, so what are the things that are important to you? Because I'm kind of making it up. It would be great to hear from her what she valued, and what did she instill in us, what was important to her, and why. For instance, her siblings, she doesn't get along with her siblings because her parents didn't get along with their siblings. And she would always say to us, the most important thing is that you kids get along, and we do all get along. So obviously it's like a value that she passed on to us, that she wanted harmony amongst the siblings, and we have great harmony amongst us, and we really support each other, which is awesome. And I think it's really nice for her to see that. So we want to get it crisp, really, really, really crisp. And then when you look at your partners and when you look at your life and then when you look at your job and you look at the things that you want to accomplish or the things that you have, that you'll see, I can see where there might be a little bit of a conflict there. You know, so it's more important that you get this down because the goals will be easy. Once we have the platform, once we have the foundation, it's like buying a house, it's like building something. Once it's strong and we know it fits us, then we can really take it anywhere. And every year that you have this, every year that we do this process, because the worksheet that I'm sending you or giving you is something that you can do every year, you can do, or every 3 months, you can repeat it over and over and over and over again, and you will have like a formula that you can use.